Max, yesterday we took a look at our 6A and 5A preseason rankings and saw how we did. Overall, I think we did good. I think we gave our 5A rankings like an A. And a B for our 6A ranking.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our 4A rankings.
4A Division 1. Start there?
4A Division 1.
Right, okay.
It's a bit of a hodgepodge because on one hand, here's one on one hand. Our number 1 team, Argyle, guess where they are?
Number 1,
Still
baby.
number 1.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
And overall, half of our top 10 are still
hanging
in the top 10,
Yeah.
which it's a lot tougher because there's only 10 spots,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
But we did have some we had our biggest swings and misses here.
Yeah. 2 egregious ones.
Navasota.
One we should have been able to see coming.
Navasota's 2-7. And I know you and I talked right after the magazine came out.
Right.
And we were like, man, I don't know. Like I think Navasota is getting that bump for what they've done recently.
It was a leap of faith based on previous returns.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
There's that. Liberty Ilo is 4-5.
You know what? That's
a weird one because I think they're better than their record indicates.
I think they're better than their record indicates. Number 1. I also think we underestimated the impact that Keemon Freeman had offensively for that team. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking machine in a way that I don't think anyone really appreciated except probably the people who saw him every week. And I think it's showing now in the fact that he can walk right into the SMU team and make some plays. So I think that's the biggest issue there.
Other ones,
and I agree. I think they're better than
Liberty Hill's 5-3, but a lot of that's because they play in a brutal district.
Well, that's the same. ILO has one of the toughest non-district schedules in the state, and that's part of it too.
I think that's part of it.
Both of those.
China Spring is number 5 after starting the year number 9. La Vega is number 2 after starting the year number 6. Abilene Wiley's hanging in there. They started the year 5. They're 8. Those are, I think, fine. I'm okay with them staying in the top 10.
Yeah.
Cannondale 6-3. I think they've underachieved a bit. And then Terrell 7-2. That was a bit of a projection pick, a 5A drop down.
That's a projection pick, but they're not far from 10.
They're
I mean,
really
you
not.
could see them making a playoff run and being one of the final 2 teams. I think it's possible.
Down to 4A Division 2. Let's take a look at 4A Division 2. Boy, the top 4 could not have gone better for us. Really, reasonably.
Yeah,
our preseason number 1 or our preseason rankings for the top 4 were West Orange Stark, Gilmer, Cuero, Salina. Ta-da!
Yeah.
They are 1, 3, 2, and 5 right now. That's pretty darn good.
Salina had a rough start, but they've kind of rounded it for them.
Put it all together. Sweetwater is number 10. They're hanging on. They were number 6, and really they're only number 10. They've only got 1 loss, and it was last week. Giddings was number 9. They're not number 8.
Yep.
The one big miss, I think we get a bit of a pass for.
LaGrange.
We had LaGrange number 5. Yeah. They're 3-5 on the year, and if you looked at that, you would go, "Oh my gosh, what a terrible miss on our part." Well, it doesn't help that on the first carry of the year, J.K. Dobbins, their star running back, goes down.
Yeah.
This whole season's different if he doesn't go down on the first play of the year. Belleville, Atlanta also started the year in the top 10. So did Pittsburgh, started the year in the top 10, and have kind of gone between decent but not good enough to be in the top 10 and just middling.
Right.
That's generally speaking, I'd say 4 Division 1, 4 Division 2 because those top 4.
And here's the thing, though. Again, it's like with Terrell, right? I look at Belleville and Atlanta, especially Pittsburgh to a lesser extent, but I still look at these teams and go,
they're pretty good.
You put them in a playoff run and they'd be fine.
Yeah,
I think they could. I think they go 3 deep and it would make sense. So
move down to 3A. 3A Division 1 may be our best rankings in general, although we'll get to 2A here in a minute. We did pretty good
2A
on
is a lot different. Yeah, for sure.
3A, Mineola started the year number 1. They're number 9.
Yeah.
Brock has moved from 2 to 1. Cameron Yo is number 3. They're 5. Malakoff is number 4. They're 2.
Yeah.
Franklin was number 5. They're number 6.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff to like here. Sunnyvale, Pottsboro, still ranked in the top 10.
Right.
Very good. The only real miss here would probably be Wall. Wall's 6-3, but a couple of their losses I think are pretty understandable. I still think they're a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Lamarck and Grandview have dropped from the top 10, but I don't think it's necessarily really any surprise.
And I think the biggest team missing from this that we missed on was Rockdale. Rockdale's been super impressive.
Yeah, Rockdale's probably the one because I think we thought Franklin was going to be really good. Right. We thought Yo was going to be really good.
And we thought Rockdale was going to be good, but we didn't put them ahead of them.
We didn't expect them to be a number 3, we didn't expect there to be 3 elite teams coming out of the same district, basically. In 3A Division 2, number 1, wire to wire right now, Newton, and they've shown no reason for us to drop them. They have been dominant and very, very quietly dominant. I think that nobody's really talking about them because nobody's really come close.
No.
Canadian, is hanging around. They were number 3 to start the year. They're number 4.
Yep.
East Bernard's moved up from number 4 to number 2. ARP and Cisco and Bowling still in the top 10.
Yep.
Very good. Crockett is at we started the year at number 5. They're 8-1.
They're good. They're good.
They're probably the de facto 11th.
Yeah, their only loss is to Newton. You know, they're
exactly.
good, but they're on the outside because the rest of their schedule isn't quite as intense as some of these other teams.
We did have a number of misses here. Wascom's a big swing and miss. And they are, I think, very similar, not as decidedly like Navasota.
No, I think we were betting on Coach Keeling to round them into form, but they just lost some impact players.
They lost a lot of impact players in the small school ranks. That really matters.
Yeah.
So then Childress 6-3.
You know what? That's a sneaky 6-3.
I still think they're really good.
They're really good.
Cisco who are their? Let me look up their schedule real quick and see who their losses are to, because
Childress has lost to Canadian, I think.
I believe that's correct. Let's see. I got their schedule pulling up. Their 3 losses right now are to Wellington.
Yeah.
Really good 2A team.
Good 2A team.
Iowa Park.
Yeah.
Really good 4A team.
Yeah.
And Canadian by 1 point. I mean, those are 3 really good losses.
Childress is really good. They could do a lot still.
The team that I think I'm a bit disappointed in, the team that started our year number 10 in those rankings was Hooks.
Yeah.
We had heard a lot of good stuff from folks out east that were saying, guys, this is the year Hooks has a ton of talent.
And we're still hearing it. When we just went out to Diana and talked to Coach Robbie Copeland there at New Diana, he was like, I couldn't believe how talented that group was.
But the other thing about it is that they have lost a lot of close games. Okay, they lost to New Boston by 2, they lost to Redwater by 3, and they lost to Hughes Springs by 1.
Yeah, that's tough.
They went to overtime with Paul Pute and ended up winning. This is a Hook squad that still has the talent, but they just kind of been. I think part of it has been they've been a bit unlucky. Is part of it. So that's 3A Division 2. Yeah. Take a look at 2A. 2A Division 1. I want to frame, okay? This is about as good as we could reasonably hope for.
Yeah.
Every year, if our top 10, if we're able to keep 7 teams in the top 10, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And not only that, the top 7 have all stayed in the top 7.
They've just shuffled around.
We've nailed it. Refugio, Shiner, Stratford, Mason, Mart, Post, Crawford. Those are all still our top 7, just in a jumbled order. Refugio's been wire-to-wire number 1.
Yep.
Really remarkable stuff. Alto's 6-3. That's a good 6-3 team.
6-3 team. Yep.
Love Ladies 7-1. That's a really good 7-1 team. And let me tell you, if they beat Groveton this week, then I wonder if they're not going to vault back into
back in at the very last second. Yeah.
The disappointment here has been Weimar.
Yeah.
Weimar started the year.
It's a tough schedule they play, though. I mean, number 1.
Weimar was a 3A drop down.
Yep.
And they've played a very tough schedule. Yep. If you look at their losses, come on, internet, reload. They lost to a good private school team in Austin, they beat them. What happened was that in the middle of the season, they went through a real funk. Yeah. And they lost to Schulenburg, Lexington, Yorktown, and Shiner in consecutive weeks.
Lexington is just outside these rankings. Lexington is a very, very good team. Shiner's is awesome,
ranked.
Obviously. Yorktown, very good
Yorktown's
team.
a very good team. They only lost by 1, and then they got drummed by Refugio last week. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot they can do, and here's the problem. You look at that district. Yeah. I mean, that's just being born under a bad sign because that district. I want to pull up their standings right now. I'm pretty sure. I think Weimar's out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that's just like, no. Right now they're in the playoffs. They'll play Kennedy. They need a win over Kennedy. They should be favored. If they win that, then they're in the playoffs. But overall, that's just being born under a bad sign. Right. Like you get a very tough district. And in 2A Division 2, our top 6, very good. Yeah. Bremond, wire-to-wire number 1. Ira Ann, wire-to-wire number 2. Right. Albany, and again, we've said this on the show before. If you want to squint and you want to tell me that Ira Ann's the best team in 2A Division 2, I'll certainly hear that argument. Right. I think there's a real argument there.
Yeah.
Albany, Munster, and Tenaha have all basically shuffled between 3 and 5.
Yeah.
And then Wellington was started year number 6. They're now number 9. Then it's 4 really kind of baffling misses. Yeah. Bruni started the year number 9, and that was a team that I think we expected more from because they had such a great year, but they did lose a ton.
Right.
Fall City is just not very good this year.
Right.
They lost their first district game in forever.
Yeah.
Since
past 07.
Since 07.
Man.
They're 5-4. Seagraves 6-3 to start this year. Just kind of you feel like they miss Corey Kyle.
Oh, and yeah, what team wouldn't?
Exactly.
You know?
And then Flatonia. Flatonia was another projection pick. They're 5-4. That just didn't. That was a shot in the dark that didn't really pan out for us. So overall, I would say that our rankings have been. I'd give it a B overall for everything.
Yeah.
For all of our rankings. Some of them, I think that in 2A Division 1, that's an A. In fact, that's about as close to like an A+ as you can get.
So. Yeah.
Like I said, I think our 5A rankings were very good.
Yeah.
There are others that I think weren't very good. I would love to have a redo on our 4A Division 1 rankings.
Yeah, I think so.
But overall, I think that this is a very good. I think we did. Well, I don't want to say we did a very good job. I think we did a good job. And all I want to do is do a good job.
Yep.
I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to make sure. I'm not here to hit. Ted Williams didn't hit 1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. I always feel like my rule of thumb when I'm kind of going through our rankings and we're sorting these things out is I want to feel like when we have a playoff field that you got the most potential state champions on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end you can say, look, we saw this coming, you know, and if they're on that list, you feel pretty good about it. And a couple times they aren't, and you feel pretty bad about it. So,
I don't know. Overall, I'd say we did pretty good.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about these. I feel pretty good about where they are right now.
DCTF Live, pretty good.